It's not okay if one kid cannot read. It's not okay, well, in our country, it's not okay if millions of children cannot read properly. So I think for me, that is kind of a crux of the issue, is that we can't sort of turn away and say, well, my kids are okay. My kids are in a private school and my kids are middle class and my kids are okay and I'm okay. It's not okay. It's not okay that there are children, there are adults, there are people in this country who are illiterate and have no prospects of ever being literate, and as a result are fundamentally disadvantaged for the rest of their lives. So A Better Africa is actually a portal. It's an online collaboration portal, and African Spelling Bee program basically uses it as a tracking mechanism, collaboration mechanism. So we communicate with all our countries through it. We're able to get things done quicker, etc. So it's really something that we've used as a vehicle to speed up our programs and to make our programs more effective. So the African Spelling program has got two components. One, it's got a spelling bee component, which is sort of the fun spelling competition that happens like you'd have on an ESPN or in America. Spelling bees are quite big. And so we've run the African Spelling Bee with 9 countries this year. It's the first time it's ever happened. Next year we go to 15 countries, and over the next few years we actually want to get to all 54 states being part of it. But the real work is the work we do in primary schools, and we work with grade 4 literacy levels in primary schools. And the reason for that is that grade 4 is your critical year of literacy in your life. If you can read at grade 4 level, you basically have an 80% chance of finishing high school, right? If you cannot read by the time you end grade 4, you have an 80% dropout possibility. And so if we look at the South African education system, and we look at many education systems around the world, you have massive dropout rates in grade 10. And you can actually track that back to were kids able to read, spell, comprehend, write at their grade 4 year. And so that's what our program really focuses on. I think the biggest challenge with being a social entrepreneur is that a lot of the times you're alone. That a lot of people are telling you, you can't do something, or that's not necessary, or why do you think like that, or why would you even want to do something like that? And I think for me that is, the money issues you can sort out, the capacity issues you can sort out, but standing alone is a difficult thing. Right, so we worked with 9 countries this year, and that was just, I've never experienced something like that. It just was so fascinating how different countries operate, how different cultures work. And I think one of the things is that as South Africans, we get quite insulated about how things run in South Africa, and things don't always work well in this country anyway, but we get used to that, And I think this was so fascinating for me to learn how, for example, the Kenyan government runs their education system, or the Botswana government runs their education system, and how people have to adapt to that, and how you have to adapt to that if you want to work in that setting. What I've learned this year and last year was that pretty much if you want to do something, you can do it. And if you get the right partners and you get the right vehicles and the right sort of support structures behind you, you can do anything. So our next step is actually to influence every education system on the continent to be world class. And there's a business side to that, and there's a social side to that, but ultimately there's a side to it that says, well, in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to set up systems supporting education systems across Africa that will basically make every country's education system world class. I think that social entrepreneurship is actually the next big thing in the world, because we all realize that for us to survive, our planet needs to survive. For us to prosper, all parts of our community have to prosper. For us to be successful, for me to be successful, you need to be successful. I think the biggest sort of gift that the African Leadership Initiative gives you is access to texts and information and thinking that you would not come into contact with on a normal basis. And most of it is actually stuff you wouldn't agree with, right? Some of it you'd agree with, some of you'd be aware of, but a lot of it is just, wow, I didn't think about that. Why do I don't agree with that, or who wrote that, or whatever. And that kind of thinking is good for anybody. So once someone puts you into a difficult situation of being uncomfortable about what you believe, what you think you knew, that's a good place to be. And I think the African Leadership Initiative and Aspen, the Aspen Global Leadership Network does that for me, has done that for me.